Okay, so we got a really interesting question from a listener.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they want to know if money can buy happiness.
That is the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like age old.
Yeah, it really is. It's kind of one of those things everyone's thought about,
Sure
right?
enough.
We've all heard money can't buy happiness, but then you see like lottery winners
Right,
and they
right.
seem pretty happy.
Totally. So, like, what's the deal?
Yeah, what is the deal? So on this deep dive, we're going to try to like figure that out.
Sounds good.
So happiness, what even is it?
Well, that's the thing, right? Happiness it's kind of a tricky one because it's subjective, right? It means different things to everyone.
Yeah. Like what makes me happy might be totally different from what makes you happy.
Exactly. And, like, it's not just one thing, It's not just like, oh, I have this, so I'm happy. It's like a whole bunch of things all kind of, like, mixed together.
Okay, so it's like a recipe with a
Yeah.
bunch of different ingredients.
Kind of, yeah. Like, think about, like, your relationships. Having strong social connections, super important for happiness.
For sure. I mean, spending time with people you love, that definitely makes you feel good.
Exactly. Or, like, having a purpose in life, feeling like what you're doing matter.
Right, like you're contributing to something bigger than yourself.
Totally. And of course, like, your health, physical and mental. Like, if you're not feeling well, it's hard to be happy.
Makes sense. So it sounds like money might be like one ingredient in this happiness recipe.
Yeah, it can be, but it's definitely not like the main ingredient.
Right, right. Okay, but there has to be some connection.
Right.
Like, I mean, if you're stressed about money all the time,
Oh, absolutely.
like not being able to pay your bills, that's got to impact your happiness.
Totally. And, like, the research backs that up,
Hmm.
There's tons of studies showing a link between income and happiness.
Okay, so the more money you have,
Hmm.
the happier you are.
Well, it's not quite that simple. The research shows that there's a correlation, but only up to a certain point.
Wait, so like you're saying there's a limit?
Basically, yeah. Like, there's this point where more money stops making as much of a difference.
What, really?
Yeah, it's wild. Like, there was this super famous study by Daniel Kahneman, a Nobel Prize winner,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and he found that, like, emotional well-being, it kind of plateaus at around $75,000 a year in the US.
So you're telling me once you hit 75K, you're as happy as you're going to get.
I mean, it's not like a magic number, right?
Yeah.
It's different for everyone. Depends on where you live, your needs, all that. But the point is, there's a point of diminishing returns.
Okay, so explain that. Like, why wouldn't more money just make you happier and happier?
Well, think about it. Once you have enough to cover your basic needs, to live comfortably,
Yeah.
that extra money, it doesn't have the same impact, right?
Okay, I think I get it. Like, buying your 10th pair of shoes isn't as exciting as, like, finally being debt-free.
Exactly. It's like that initial relief, that's a huge happiness boost.
Sure.
But after a while, more stuff just doesn't do it.
So it's not about buying a bunch of stuff. It's more about what the money allows you to do.
Yeah. Like reducing stress.
Okay, yeah. Like being able to pay your bills without, like, freaking out.
Exactly. And it can also open up possibilities, right?
For sure. Like travel or hobbies.
Totally. Things that bring you joy, but maybe you couldn't afford before.
Right. I've always wanted to take a pottery class, but
But those bills, gotta pay the bills.
exactly.
But it's important to remember, money is a tool, not the end goal.
Right, right. Like it's a means to an end.
Exactly. And that end should be finding fulfillment, like doing things that are intrinsically motivating.
Okay, so what does intrinsically motivating even mean?
It means doing things because you love them, not because of some external reward.
Okay, I think I get it. Like volunteering, right?
Right. Exactly. Or like learning a new language or writing a book.
Or like gardening. I mean, some people just really love gardening.
Totally. And those things, they often bring a much deeper sense of happiness than, just buying something.
Right. It's like one is a quick hit, the other is more long-lasting.
Exactly. And the thing is, what's intrinsically motivating for one person might be totally different for someone else.
Right. Like I love hiking, but some people would find it like the worst thing ever.
Totally. And that's why this whole money happiness thing is so personal. It's not one size fits all.
Right. Because we all have different values, different goals.
Totally. And like your personality plays a role, your upbringing, your culture, all these things influence how you see money and happiness.
So back to our listener's question. Does money buy happiness? Sounds like the answer is pretty complicated.
Totally. It's nuanced, right? It's not a simple yes or no.
Yeah. And that's kind of what makes it so interesting.
Absolutely. And I think like understanding the nuances, that's what gives you power.
power to do what?
Power to make choices about how you use money to, like, create a life that's actually fulfilling for you.
So it's not about like chasing riches, but about using money as a tool
Exactly.
to build a life that's like aligned with your values.
Totally.
Yeah.
And, like, that makes you happy.
Yeah. Happy on your own terms.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
This has been like super insightful.
glad to hear it.
But I think we should leave our listeners with like one final thing to think about.
Absolutely.
So, listener, here's a question for Noel. What truly brings you joy?
What makes your life feel, like, rich and meaningful?
And like, don't think about money. Think about what really matters to you.
Yeah, and maybe, like, how can you use whatever resources you have to get more of that in your life?
Boom.
Mic drop.
Okay, that's it for our deep dive today. See you next time.